the Elevated Look Show, hosted by Mark Stampfly.
Welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Thanks.
How are you doing?
Whew. Other than like the world burning, I'm good. Yeah. If you
Is
just
that how you
ignore
feel still?
everything-
You feel like the world is... I kind of feel like things are kind of coming back a little bit. Like it's getting a little bit
Yeah.
back to normal.
Yeah, definitely. We can eat at restaurants again, and I know that a lot of stuff is starting to shoot again. Like a lot of my friends are like working again, so which is great. I'm not working still, so maybe that's why I feel like.
Okay, I get that. Yeah, how has being, I looked at your, I believe it was your Instagram, and you had listed actress, model, producer, science fiction enthusiast. We can get to later, I guess. But actress is number one on your list. Like, how is that going? How has it been as an actress since everything changed? Like, has it been a lot more difficult? Has it just been different?
Yeah. Well, so January 2020. To March 2020, I was on tour with a play called The New Colossus, directed by Tim Robbins, and we toured a bunch of cities in the U.S. This was the second time I've gone on tour with that play. The first time in 2019, we went to South America. It was amazing. So like I was on top of the world. I was like, 2020 is going to be my year. Like I'm doing this tour. I'm getting paid as an actor. Like, this is my only job right now. I had to quit my bar job.
Yeah, to have to go tour, right?
Absolutely. And we had Macaulay Culkin sign on as an executive producer for a TV show pitch. And I was like, I'm going to come back. I'm going to sell this show. It's going to be awesome. And then I got back to LA on March 6th. That's when our tour ended. We had like one extra date, but it got canceled. And then like a week later, the world shut down. And let's see, acting wise, I mean, I've had some auditions here and there that were pretty good.
Yeah, I want to hear a little bit more about the New Colossus.
Yeah.
And your tour. I know things changed because of the pandemic, but you were touring in South America first?
Yeah, we went.
How did that come about?
Well, there was a play festival happening in Santiago. There was a play festival happening in Santiago, Chile, and we were invited. Some friends of Tim came to the theater and they saw the play because we had toured there before with Midsummer Night's Dream, and they came to see the play and they invited us to come. And then there was another festival in Concepcion in Chile, and they invited us as well. So, and then another one in Buenos Aires.
Wow, that's exciting. I've always wanted to go to Buenos Aires too.
It's beautiful.
Is it?
It's beautiful. Yeah.
You recommend visiting there?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I'm dying. I've never been to South America, so it's on my list. I'm hoping to go this year.
And Chile was like the mountains. Amazing, beautiful. I mean, I can't really even describe like the biggest mountains you've ever seen.
Wow. So like, how long were you in each spot? Like, were you there for like a few days, a weekend, like?
So we performed, I think, in Santiago, like, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks, and then a weekend in Concepcion, and then I think just a few days, like a weekend, so it was like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, in Buenos Aires. We performed in this huge amphitheater, like outdoor amphitheater, with like 3,000 people in attendance, which was crazy, and it was also like 80 degrees. And we were all wearing coats because in the play it's like cold, you know. So that was a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, I saw you guys when you were at the theater. I guess where the Actors Gang performs in LA. What's the name of that theater? Or is that the name of it?
Gang.
It's the Actors Gang Theater. Yes. Oh, okay, yeah, the Actors Gang Theater. I remember a while back watching it there, and it just seemed like a very like physical play in general. Like so the running around and. So I can imagine wearing coats.
Yes, it was one of the harder things I've done as an actor, definitely. Yeah, but Chile had been having its own sort of issue with refugees coming from, oh my gosh, I want to say that it was Haiti.
Okay.
but I should look it up.
Okay.
My phone.
Well, maybe for everyone who doesn't really know what the new Colossus is about, maybe you can kind of give just a brief synopsis on.
Oh, sure, yes. So The New Colossus is a play about refugees. It's 12 different actors who speak 12 different languages, and they each play an ancestor or a family member who came to America as a refugee. And they're all true stories, and they're all true stories, and we all helped to write them with Tim as the director and sort of the editor of the play. So it's completely original. And we speak a combination of English and our native languages in the play. Yeah, and it's very
Russian.
physical. Yes, yes. So my mother, my whole family, we came to Los Angeles as refugees in 1991.
That's very interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so I play my mother and I tell that story.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
What does your mother think of that?
Oh, she loves it. I mean, I didn't tell her until like the day before opening night because I needed some help with like Russian translations. I was gonna not tell her and just surprise her, but I needed help.
That's funny.
So yeah, I mean, she's like, I never thought anybody would want to hear this story or think that it was important to tell. I didn't either until like.
Yeah, how did that all come about? So you were a part of the actors gang in plays beforehand, and then it kind of just naturally like developed with Tim Robbins kind of.
Yeah, so we're a company, so we have a core group of members, and we don't really cast outside that company. So we have about 30 to 40 members at any given time, and we workshop plays or just we practice together every single Sunday.
Okay.
Or, we did before the pandemic.
Not anymore?
No.
Virtual?
No, we do virtual ones,
okay.
but it's a little different now. We've been doing puppet stuff now.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
So we would practice every Sunday, and then when the refugee crisis started to happen with Syrian refugees, Tim wanted to do something about that, and we do have a lot of international and immigrants, refugees who are part of the company, and people who speak a lot of different languages, and so we started to workshop it, and we came up with these stories, and all of us asked our family members. To
tell you more details.
Yeah, exactly. We did research and all that stuff. Yeah. I found out things that I didn't even really know.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. Do you feel like you kind of already had a good background on your family history, or did that really kind of you're like, wow, okay, I didn't even know.
Well, I was there for the whole part of but I was 5. I didn't know. I thought it was just a normal thing to move to America because. That's what we were doing, and all of my friends here in Los Angeles, their families did the same thing, whether they were from, Mexico, South America, other places, Korea, Russia, they were all of them did the same thing. So I thought it was totally normal. But I really didn't know what was happening in Russia in the 90s that made my parents want to leave so badly. That made all the people who left in the 90s want to leave, and a lot of bad stuff was happening.
Well, Tim Robbins is in one of my favorite movies of all time, The Shawshank Redemption.
Yes.
Tell me what it's like working with him. You guys wrote it together with him, or was he just directing? How was it working in that kind of environment?
So we have a pretty unique sort of way to workshop where we do improvisation, and he will lead it, and then he'll ask us, we had prompts, so he asked us, research this part or research that part, and then we would bring it and do it in workshop, and then he sort of picked and chose what stayed in the play. Yeah. So.
Okay. And how long does that process take? You guys came up with the idea, and then, you're all each kind of contributing to the writing and the research for it. I mean, that seems like it could take a while.
Yeah, it took a while. I think from when we first started workshopping it to when we did our first non-workshop production, full production of it, was about a year.
Okay.
So I mean, we started with a workshop production where some nights we would change it up. Some nights we wouldn't speak English at all.
Okay.
And the audience would just kind of have to know the story from our movements and our emotions and. Things like that, and then some nights we spoke more English, and and then we kind of just saw what worked and what didn't, and it evolved from there. But yeah, it took a while.
Very cool. Any other projects that you're kind of like passionate about or working on right now or working towards or even just brewing kind of in the mind, like in the back of the mind?
Yeah. I was discussing like horror movies with my friend Jaden, and I was trying to remember the name of the movie, I Spit on Your Grave, and I was like, oh, it's like I dig my own grave or something. And then I'm like, oh no, that's not right. But that's a really good name for a horror movie,
Okay.
right? So we're gonna work on producing like a fake trailer. You know,
Okay.
like Tarantino's Grindhouse movies, they have
Yeah.
those like trailers
The
for
trailers
movies
in
that
between,
didn't
yeah.
exist.
Mhm.
Like one of those, and it's called I Dig My Own Grave, and I'm gonna be in it because I can do that.
Yeah, you can choose. It's your
Exactly.
project. You better be in it.
Yeah, so it's kind
Yeah.
of like a revenge story.
Okay. I
Yeah.
like revenge stories.
Yeah, like Grindhouse, you know,
Mhm.
horror.
It's been a while since like there's been a good one. I think like Taken obviously was
Kill Bill.
Kill Bill, but I mean those were a while ago.
Yeah,
It's been a while
yeah.
since there's been like a really good like revenge flick or show. Have you done like the virtual audition thing? Like is that something that's going on right now? Like how's that process play out like in terms of like seeking auditions and things like that?
I haven't done the Zoom auditions yet. I haven't done one
Okay.
of those, but I've done a ton of self-tapes, which is just, you know, you set up
Yep.
your camera at home and you just do the scene with whoever you can rope in to read for you and send it off. So I've done a lot of those. And I mean, it is kind of nice. You don't have to sit in traffic. You don't have to try to find parking. Like, I don't mind.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
And you could do as many takes as you want.
That's true.
I've done 30 takes.
Okay. What advice would you give to those who are like trying to make like a good self-tape or a good virtual audition? Like, do you have any like kind of tips and tricks that kind
Sure.
of guide people on the right path?
I mean, the most important thing is, you know, good lighting, good background, good framing. Like, once you have that down, like, then you can start, like, playing with, like, your actual technique. But, like, if you don't have those things, it'll be so distracting that nobody's even going to watch your acting because they'll just be distracted by, like, a backlight or the fact that the top of your head is cut off and, you know, they're just not going to take you seriously. So, you know, invest in a couple lights, a tripod. I have a whole wall in my apartment that I painted blue.
Oh, cool.
It's like too bright to look good as like
As like a home
decor, but
Yeah.
you know, just so I could have a self-tape wall. But yeah, I
Is
mean,
blue like the best color for people? Is like that like a really good background color for?
yeah. I mean, blue works with almost everybody. Yeah. Or just like a soft gray. Yeah, like that gray is nice. Like
I like
nothing
this
too
backdrop.
Yeah, this is really nice.
This one's been pretty good. It's gotten good reactions so far. So
Nothing too busy, not in front of like a window.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of performance, I mean, there are like I took like a Zoom acting class
Oh, okay.
actually, like kind of at the start of the pandemic where we're like, oh yeah, things are opening up, and then they close back down again, like right before the winter.
False
I think.
alarm.
Yeah.
Back to.
I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get so many auditions.
Yeah.
Fine. But you know, it's a different thing being in person and being on camera. So really, like working with those subtleties and being comfortable with Zoom, being comfortable in front of like a virtual setting is so important. And just studying all the time and knowing your lines and all those little technical bits are so important.
Yeah, I think that you know, I think the pandemic changed things. I think we're moving back to where we'll be in a lot more like in-person auditions, but I think also people kind of got comfortable with that, like, and have learned it, and so it is kind of like a new, like, I don't think we're going too far back to where things were. I think we're keeping a little bit, you know, of.
It's just too convenient.
It's convenient and efficient, and even like I did some casting over the summer, and like pretty early on, and did the whole Zoom. That was my first time.
Put me in for an audition?
Well,
I'm just kidding.
I don't need to put on the spot here. No, I don't need to audition you. I know you're a good actress, so I know to bring you into a project once there's like, I feel like, okay, this role suits you. Like, I'm like, I'll bring you in. So
I'm just joshing you. I'm sure.
I know.
You probably just didn't need my type, right?
You know, it was there's definitely a place for you. Like, I have this kind of like comedy series I've been developing.
Oh, nice.
But I kept it pretty. Like, I kept it pretty small so far just because it was one thing that I'm like, I just want to shoot this thing. Funny enough, it's been actually the thing that got pushed more than anything. My co-producer, he is coming back in April. So we've it's been like, he's actually, funny enough, he's actually in the Army. So he does like video and PR and communications for them. So he was kind of traveling back and forth, but he's almost done. He's in some training right now, and then he's finally going to be back, like kind of for good. So I've kind of always like, okay, I guess let's just wait until he gets back. Let's wait until he gets back.
Yeah.
And because it's pretty close. Like it was just like 3 main characters, and it was kind of like shorter form scripts, like premium mid-form content, like somewhere around like the 5 to 11 minute mark. Nice. So like I wanted to have it very efficient, so that we wouldn't have to rely on like making this happen. Because I'm just like, let's start small, let's get let's create all these episodes, release them all, and then we can go from there. Then we can see like, is this something we like doing? Is this something that catches on with an audience? Like, there's a couple factors I think that would play in, but for me, I just liked the writing of it. I won't talk about it too much yet, but I liked the comedy writing side of it. So for me, it was like kind of a good outlet to kind of tell some of my stories in like a funnier way.
Nice. Did you write with somebody, or did you write by yourself?
I've done the bulk of the writing, yeah. So
I find it so, like, especially in the pandemic, I found it so hard to write comedy by myself. Like, it's such a, I feel like it's such like a interpersonal thing, especially if I'm not interacting with people like throughout the week.
That's
I'm
true,
like,
yeah.
I don't know what comedy is anymore. Jesus. But I did think of some more advice.
Oh,
like,
okay.
If
acting advice.
Yes, acting advice.
Virtual acting advice, or just acting advice in general?
In general.
Oh, okay.
So, like, if you're an actor and you know someone who you want to work with, you should just tell them. You should be like, I want to work with you. And
you think people aren't telling people enough?
I think people are nervous sometimes, or they'll assume like that person knows. And I'm saying that because I've thought that, and I've assumed that. And I've also had the experience of like somebody wanting to work with me and telling me like, hey, I would like to work with you on your web series.
Okay.
And I ended up casting that person
and you were okay
in my
with
web
that?
series. Yeah, oh, absolutely. I didn't know. And then when I needed that person, like when I needed an actor, I was like, oh, well, I'll just call that person and they're going to do it. Easy.
So it's a lot about like, I think that's good, because I think it's a lot about like collaborating. Like sometimes like in the acting world, because it is, it's hard. It's a hard industry because there's just so many people that want to do it. Yeah. And then there's just different levels of like, success. And so I think sometimes it becomes more of a competitive environment, and you're like, oh, I'm not going to help her. I'm not going to do this. But I think even more so now, like I think people have gotten more into like the spirit of like collaborating and realizing that it actually benefits both people to do that.
Yeah,
more often than not.
If you need an actor for a series, like you're going to need one, and it's much better to work with someone who wants to work with you.
Yeah, that's true.
Who's going to show up and do the work.
Absolutely, yeah. I think one of the things I don't know, maybe just from my experience, but just in working in different industries and doing different things during the pandemic, I just feel like so many people are like flakes now. Like it's so many people don't show up. Like what no matter what it is, it could be for like an actual real job. It could be for like a collaboration. It could be for who knows what, like just getting together. It's just like, it seems like, I don't know, has that amplified like, and I know people should obviously, be safe and, COVID obviously, but the thing is, I'm talking about people who are actually like saying they're going to be doing something and then don't end up living up to it. Like, I feel like I've got to like, noticed a lot of that. Is that just me, or have you seen that too?
No, I've seen that too. Yeah, and I mean that was a problem in LA before the pandemic. I mean, I've never really lived anywhere else, so I don't know what it's like. Yeah. Like in New York, I have no idea. But I think it's gone a little worse. I think people are they're having a really hard time. Yeah. And maybe they're very anxious about like, I mean, going outside in general. Like I become anxious about that, and I think of myself as a pretty social person, but if
why are you anxious? So are you anxious because of like, are you anxious because of the people, or like because of the like COVID? Like what's going through, or all
both.
the above?
Yeah, and sometimes
Yeah.
it's just a general thing. Like I don't even know why I don't want to go outside, but
Yeah.
I don't. And I think that's sort of permeating everybody right now. Even the most social people, we're all getting a little bit of social anxiety because we haven't practiced.
Yeah, it's true.
Like I was like, what should I wear today? What do humans wear?
Yeah. You did well. That's good.
Thank you,
Good
thank
outfit.
you.
Outfit of
You
the day
too.
there. Thank you.
I noticed you had little corgis on your shirt.
I'd like to say they're like little wolves.
They're like
Wolf
Shiba
dogs.
Inus, maybe. Yes, wolves.
They're wolf dogs.
They're adorable.
Thank you. Actually, speaking of that, one of the things I was going to ask you about was Quill Fitness. I saw that you had started a apparel brand. How did that come about? What are you up to in that? I know it's new. Like it's you started like a few months ago, or?
Yeah. I kind of started like a few months after the pandemic started. Because a friend of mine, I found out that he like sold stuff on Amazon, and he like made his own product and sold it on Amazon, and he was like, you should, if you wanted to do it, like he would teach me about it, how to do it. And then at the same time, I ordered this pair of leggings from Amazon. It was like one of the best pair of leggings that I had ever wore, and they were like $20, and I'm like, how do they do this?
Okay.
And then I watched a bunch of videos about it, and basically like it went from wanting to sell stuff on Amazon to like finding this one manufacturer that could make these specific leggings with this specific fabric, and then being like, oh, well, I'll just start a fitness brand. Because there was a pandemic, like I couldn't act, I couldn't bartend.
Yeah.
I couldn't really
Good for
do
you.
anything.
No, good for you though. That's I think one of the good things about the pandemic is it's allowed a lot of people to explore different avenues that they might not have explored. And hey, who knows? Like maybe in 2 years you're like, I don't want to do clothing.
Right.
But you might be like, hey, I just actually found another passion that I really like.
Well, I've always loved fashion ever since I was a kid. There was a time when I wanted to be a fashion designer. So in a sense, this is something that I've like always wanted to do.
Okay.
And that was the time where I had time on my hands and I had like a good mentor. And I had the resources. So, and I used some of the stimulus payment
Okay, there
in
you
order
go.
to fund
Well, that's
it.
good. Yeah, putting it to use.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I was like, well, maybe I can make some extra money because I can't do anything.
Yeah, no, that's great. And is that something like, is that like wholly your idea, or is your like mentor? Is a mentor involved as well, or is it like, hey, you designed it all, you did every little step,
much,
all the sweat equity is you, huh?
Sort of, yeah. Well, I mean, of course, the factory like
does the
actual sewing, and I mean, I sent them sort of like a breakdown of like the leggings and like how I wanted them to, like sort of a pattern, but not really. So they did a lot of like the extrapolating of sizes and the design of like the sports bra. But I picked the fabric and I built the website. I produced the photo shoot. I edited all the photos.
Wow.
And I do all the marketing. So
yeah. That's kind of one of the other things like we kind of touch on through Elevated Look. We do digital marketing through the company. I'm kind of curious. Like I think people would be excited to hear that another person kind of created a new brand. Like, is there any thing, like what did you learn along the way that maybe for people who are starting a brand that you could kind of impart onto them as like a few things that maybe what to do or what not to do?
Okay, I've got one. Start a new bank account and I mean this might be obvious to some people, but it wasn't obvious to me. So start like a new bank account that's separate from your personal bank account, and then use that bank account to do all of your transactions for your business. And that way, once it comes tax time, and also just for your own knowledge of how much money you're making or losing, everything is in one place and you don't have to hunt for it. And that I didn't do that until like 2 months ago.
Okay, that's fantastic advice, by the way. That actually is a really great tip.
Thank you. Yeah, and here's some great advice that I got when I started, which is like if you want to have a brand, like especially clothing, you can start with just one product. I only have one yoga set, so it's a mask, a bra, and leggings, and that in one color, and that's all I've got right now. And that's okay. You can add more stuff as you go along. Like you don't.
Was there a reason, like, you know, are you kind of still exploring on like what works and what doesn't, or did you kind of do a lot of research into figure out, okay, these are like the 3 ones that I want to do, like?
It was mostly due to cost of manufacturing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So and that can run thousands of dollars. So you know, if you don't have a lot to spend on initial manufacturing, because most factories won't do like less than an order of 100 of you know leggings, so or masks. So that's a great way to get started, even if you don't have like a huge amount of capital to start with.
Okay. For people who want to like find out more about you or buy some of your, you know, Quill Fitness brands, like where can we find you? Where can people learn more about you?
Sure. Well, so it's Quill Fitness, Quil, just one L. Okay. And you can find it on my website, quillfitness.com, or on Amazon. If you just search Quill Fitness, leggings, sports bras, or masks, they're on there. You can take advantage of the Prime shipping. You can find Instagram is at Quill Fitness, and then my Instagram is at Mashka Wolfe. And then I have a website as well if you wanted to look at like the different projects I'm involved with. It's mashkawolfe.com.
Mashkawolfe.com, great.
Oh, and I have a TikTok as well.
Okay, now that's interesting because I think TikTok is one of the best places for organic reach right now.
My friend Jaden was really into it, and she was posting like Y2K babes.
Okay.
Content on there, and like one of our videos got 2 million views.
Wow,
which was really
that's great.
Cool. Yeah, and
what was the video? What was what did that video?
It was called "Feminism is Hard."
Okay.
So you know, a little bit controversial.
Sure, those are sometimes
but maybe that's
viral.
Why. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
So I started, and you know, I want to say the first like 15, 20 videos were like, okay, like a couple hundred views. And then I decided that I had a short film that I had written about watching Russian movies as a kid.
Okay.
Because I'm Russian.
Yeah.
And like, as a kid, I watched these old Soviet comedies with my parents. And so I was like, well, maybe I'll just make a couple of TikToks. And so I made one where I talk about like 3 different ones, and I kind of like edited them together, and I did a voiceover. And that got 33,000 views.
That's great.
Because I think people are kind of fascinated by the USSR and like what that was like. Because I grew up in Los Angeles. I didn't learn anything about the history of Russia or the Soviet Union in school. So I don't think a lot of people got that knowledge either. I think they're really curious. And the films are beautiful. And
that's what I was gonna ask you. Like these films you watch, like were you a fan of these films, or you're like, like these don't watch these? Okay.
No, they're really good. They're hilarious, and they're very lighthearted, like the comedies at least. I know there's like Russian films that are really serious and dark.
Do you watch those too?
I haven't seen those.
Oh,
I mean, I watched like one.
Fair enough. Probably not the best year to watch that either.
There's a deep sadness within the Russian.
I would say a lot of political kind of agenda in the older ones, or.
Well, the way I described it in the video is that they depict this lighthearted communist utopia.
Okay.
You know, so where like things are great and it's like funny, and there's like what I love about the videos is that you know, obviously there were censors and stuff that you couldn't. This was run by the government, you know, funded by everyone. They were nationalized. The film industry was nationalized, so you couldn't say whatever you wanted. You couldn't make a film criticizing anything, but the writers did it anyway, and they snuck it past the censors. And you could see it, like these little jabs, you know, where if someone was like, oh, well, you said that, and I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything.
Very subtle.
Yeah, and I love that.
Okay.
I love it.
That's pretty cool.
Because it's, you know, people trying to persevere in an oppressive environment through art.
Yep, the art is always kind of like the breakout, the revolution.
Yeah.
Have you done any more Russian TikTok since? Because I feel like that could be a big thing. Like I feel like that angle might be like kind of set you apart. Like if you're like this actress, you know, American girl.
Yeah, I did another one that was it was basically just one of the movies, and I cut it into 1 minute, and I did a voiceover of just like what it was about. And that one has 200,000 views now.
Oh, wow, yeah. That's your thing, I think.
Yeah,
I think that's your thing. I think you got to play that up.
I was talking to my mom.
Big on TikTok.
And I was asking her about like what life was like in Soviet Union and stuff, and I was like, I think part of my destiny is to try to explain the USSR to Americans.
There you go. Yeah, that's great.
So that's what
I love
trying
it.
to do.
I love that. That's great.
So follow me on TikTok at Mashka Wolfe.
There you go.
That's it for this week's episode. Thanks for watching the Elevated Look Show, and we would really, really appreciate if you leave a review and subscribe.